Lower dunk.
Welcome back, everyone, to Lore Dump, the show where we take somebody who hasn't played a video game or video game franchise and walks them through the story. I am your patriarch, Chase.
Oh.
And these are my subordinates.
Monty-chan.
And... if you're going to add Chan, you got to do it with the voice.
No.
Monty-chan!
I'll take it.
Lieutenant Neil.
Oh, shit. Monty's at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Fodder. We are back with some more Yakuza 4. Do either of you want to kind of catch the lovely folks at home up on where we've been, what's been going on?
So, since we started Yakuza 4, my son has been born. Neil got married. That is actually since we started the Yakuza franchise. Yes. We started a Discord, it reached 1,000 members.
Is that after Yakuza started?
Yeah.
That's shockingly more recent than I thought it was for as big as it is.
Okay, sincerely, right. Oh, God, okay. High level. We've met
How many pages of notes do we have?
1, 2, 3, 4 notes, and we're halfway, which is more than we've done for any of them so far. So we've got Akiyama, who's our first playable character. He is a loan shark. He uses the money to help people. He's a complicated character, but we quite like him. He works with the Tanimura family. We've got Kido and we've got Arai. Arai is currently in the wind. People are looking for Arai because he killed a member of...
I've never heard of this phrase, in the wind.
He's in the wind. He's gone. He's
said it so many times I've never heard it.
We don't know where he is, but he killed a member of the Ueno family, which has basically caused the beginnings of a war between the Ueno and the Shibata family.
It's given Ueno the leverage to come into the Tojo to our darling Daigo Dojima, the current 6th chairman, and to say, listen, if we don't get his head on a platter, that is Arai's head on a platter for what he's done, we're going to have a problem. So either you give us his head, or alternative, you give us Guru Majima and Majima's estate. Yeah.
And if we remember Arai, one of the few things we learned about Arai was A, he was a cool customer, and B, he was getting cozy with Majima prior to the events of this game. Just like in the days running up, it seemed like he was getting a bit cozy with him. Kido Kanamura is like good friends with Arai. Hold on.
I should restructure what seems to be a set thing. He wasn't getting cozy with Arai per se. He was getting cozy with Shibata. But even that wasn't really necessarily cozy. Like, he was off on Kanamura business as captain. Right. Like, that was just official business. They were checking out the building that another Tojo person.
Is that Arai did go to meet with Shibata the day that he killed that guy. Yes.
But I wouldn't necessarily read it as he was getting cozy with Majima.
Okay, fair
I think that's a strong read.
So meanwhile, Kido Kanamura is he's been tasked with finding Arai, and they were like best friends till the very end. Kido ended up getting wrapped up with our second playable character, Taiga Saijima, who back in the 80s, worst character we've met so far. For some reason, is a fan favorite despite a litany of actual sins, to the point that we actually try to trace whether or not he'll go to heaven or hell, and he's well in hell. Saijima's met Kazuma Kiryu, who's still chilling at his orphanage, not gotten involved with the main plot. Yes, hopefully he never leaves the orphanage because we love the orphanage. Saijima then Saijima went to Kamurocho because he wanted to meet with Majima, because back in the 80s there was a whole thing where they were going to go together to kill a bunch of Ueno guys, and Majima didn't show up because basically Majima got captured by Shibata, and they ended up cutting out his eye. It was a horrible big tragedy. Shibata sucks, and now Saijima and Majima seem to have come to terms with that, and they're fine together, it seems. Really don't know much else about how Saijima factors into the larger plot, other than the fact that he is the brother of Yasuko, otherwise known as Lily, who is this woman that ended up being quite romantically involved with Akiyama. And
she borrowed 100 million yen off him and killed a couple of key senior Yakuza.
Yeah, she killed a bunch of key senior Yakuza. We still don't know why that's the case. And she also, for some reason, looks a lot like Eri, who is Akiyama's ex-girlfriend. Still currently unexplained. I thought we're going with twin sisters, but there seemed to be no reference in Saijima's backstory that there is a third sibling. So we don't know. And most importantly of all, we still don't know how Purple Shirt factors into any of this. And I refuse to explain or elaborate. We're now in part 3. We're probably going to meet a character that we met for about 5 seconds. It's either going to be a Kiryu chapter or it's going to be this weird blue-jacketed guy who we've nicknamed Herlock Sholmes because all we know about him is he showed up to a murder scene, picked up a gun, looked at a guy's fucking bullet in his head and went, yes, bullets will kill people. Like some mega detective, and he's left. We don't even know if he is a detective, but we've nicknamed him Herlock Sholmes because we don't know his name. Chase, hit us. Part 3.
Part 3. Masayoshi Tanimura.
There he is. Okay, Tanimura, not Herlock Sholmes. Tanimura.
Chapter 1, The Kamurocho Parasite. March 8th, 12 p.m., Kamurocho PDHQ. Detective Sugiyuchi sits in an interview across from a familiar-looking younger man in a blue jacket, furiously asking what the fuck he was doing at Sky Finance the day of the murder. His prints were all over the body. Has he ever fucking heard of gloves?
I'm so glad that came back.
The man just completely blanks Sugiyuchi with a frustrated look on his face until he's kind of just sat there and he goes, "Yes, got it!" Sugiyuchi like looks over him, ripping his earpiece from the man's ear. The sounds of horse races coming out of his earpiece. As Sugiyuchi like scolds him, like, "Oh, they don't let you pull this shit over in community safety, do they?" The man gets up, asking if they're done here. He has places to be. He begins walking for the door, but he's stopped by Sugiyuchi. "Listen, Tanimura, I've got a little tip for you. Don't stick your nose where it doesn't belong. All you'll find is an early grave, just like your old man." Tanimura looks down at Sugiyuchi's shoes before turning to leave again, saying that he's going on patrol. Sugiyuchi's face goes sour, saying that the last he heard, Tanimura's patrols are little more than him shaking down illegal businesses for hush money.
Oh, dear.
Huh. My reputation precedes me. I'm out. Tanimura turns, walking out the door. Sugiyuchi watching on, his face hard.
He's just confessed a crime to you.
Yeah.
Sorry, you said parasite there. Sorry, yeah.
I just called him a parasite.
He's just confessed a crime to a police officer who deals with organized crime.
No, remember, Sugiyuchi is not organized crime. He's criminal investigation.
All right, so he can't arrest anyone who does anything wrong and anything out of his...
Exactly, thank you.
Yeah.
Is Tanimura a detective then? What's his official title?
So Tanimura is just a beat cop.
Right.
And he's over in...
Yeah, why is he not dressed in a uniform?
And he's over in community safety.
Right.
To be fair, none of them have uniforms.
Yeah, but they're all detectives. He's a beat cop. We've seen all the beat cops wear shirts and, like, you know, the little hats and the...
And Tanimura's whole deal is that he shakes down businesses and doesn't give a fuck and has a dead dad. That's basically all we know so far.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go, part 4.
Wow, okay, Saijima's got some stiff competition.
And boy, is he stiff. As Tanimura is leaving the PD, he's chased down by a much older, small police officer. His chief, Hisai, saying that he heard Tanimura went to a mahjong parlor during patrol yesterday, scolding him how he shouldn't have to tell him to not gamble on duty.
Why is he still working here?
Sack this man.
He continues saying that this is hysterical. I think you guys are really gonna like Tanimura.
I actually kind of, yeah, sorry.
He continues saying that somebody called in saying Tanimura took them for tens of thousands of yen. Tanimura asked who it was, with the chief almost fearfully refusing to tell him for that person's own safety.
Oh boy.
What would Tanimura's father think, seeing him like this? The chief risked his neck pulling him into community safety. Tanimura apologizes and instantly heads out to find whoever the fuck snitched on him. Because snitches...
Get stitches.
There it is. He heads over to the Orchid Palace Mahjong rooms, where it's immediately evident that he is a regular. Like, the owner knows him, all the other people in the place know him. The owner tells him that there were only 3 people that he was playing yesterday while he was there. A couple of regulars who just so happen to actually be in now, and somebody who he didn't recognize. Tanimura heads over to talk to the regulars, who joke around, asking if he's back to destroy them some more. Seems like they've been on a bit of a losing streak to him. So, you know, if they wanted to snitch, they probably would have done it a while ago. This isn't the first time that Tanimura's fleeced them. Besides, they don't even want to know what he'd do to them if they did snitch. They end up essentially extorting Tanimura for info, saying how this is official police business, so now it, deserves a tip. 2 silver plates seems fair, doesn't it? They even give him out as prizes here, basically being like, go gamble us for some prizes. Tanimura immediately heads next door to Ebsupon to buy 2 fake plates.
He just doesn't care.
Unfortunately for the guys, they never said anything about the quality of the plates. They just said silver plates.
Right.
And he's like, they're silver colored. The guy is beyond annoyed, but doesn't want to push his luck, telling Tanimura that the guy's name was Ida. They don't know what he does, just that he somehow earns his mahjong money over at the Shichifuku parking lot. The guys wish the man luck, he's gonna fucking need it, and tell Tanimura to come back soon, give them another chance at him. He heads over where we find out that Ida is really... we head over to the lot and find out Ida, it's just Mr. Try and Hit Me from Yakuza 0.
Try and hit me.
Do you remember that there was a guy who was basically a minigame where he would just dodge repeatedly and Kiryu had to hit him once, and if you hit him once, if you hit him once, you won, and he gave you money?
I've played that bit.
Yeah, it's just him.
I just did side quests.
It's literally just him.
Right.
And he's pissed. This kind of ends up in some sort of like combat tutorial. He's like, oh, you're gonna have to try and hit me. And we get to try out Tanimura's police combat style, which is very parry focused and very
You shoot people in the head without asking questions.
also that.
Fucking, I shouldn't laugh at that. That's really grim.
And it's all combo built up until you get so everybody else, you'd like charge up your heat gauge until you use heat action. For him, his heat action is just the end of his combo, and I actually think it might be he shoots him if I remember right. Cool. I think it's like karate, or I mean, it's more like jujutsu. It's like bang.
Yakuza gets it.
Now, with Tanimura definitely having tried and hit him and succeeded, he confesses that he snitched because every year there's a guy in a scary gray suit who challenges him, and every year he up and loses. He trains every year for this fight, but he's never been able to beat the guy once.
Oh, this poor guy, he's training all year.
For this fight against this mysterious guy in a gray suit.
Isn't he like the most famous guy from that town?
Nobody knows who he is.
Yeah, okay.
So he started playing Mahjong to try and like take his mind off that. And turns out he was actually pretty good about it. But just as he was thinking maybe he could start making a living off Mahjong, Tanimura swooped in, spoiled all his fun, and just like took him for all his money again. Okay. So he's ready to accept his punishment for snitching, but Tanimura's gotten kind of bored of it now. He's already beaten him up, so he's free to go. Right. They'll call it even, but don't fucking try it again or he will beat the shit out of you. He's not going to be as nice the second time. Tanimura leaves the lot, getting a radio message on his earpiece, calling all nearby officers to a report of fighting at Theater Square. This is kind of a cool feature of Tanimura's, is Tanimura gets the police scanner, where just at random points in the game, he'll get little like police bulletins basically like, there's a fight happening here, and you can go like off to special fights. Okay. Just throughout Kamurocho and you'll get special rewards for them. Cool.
This is the same lot where you fight this guy in Zero, right?
We're in every game that he's in almost every game.
He just stays in this exact lot just in case.
Well, it's so here you can find him.
Good marketing.
For their yearly fight. It's nothing more than a squabble. It's quickly resolved. But it does get quickly noticed by Akaishi of the Kamurocho Guard, a volunteer group that does community service in the area. And boy howdy, has he heard a lot about Tanimura. I think there's a whole side quest line with these guys. I didn't include it because I didn't.
Are they good eggs?
I don't think so.
Volunteer cops, I never trust
well,
that.
no. So a lot of the times, actually, these groups spring up in communities where the cops don't do anything. You know, a lot of times community groups like that in America sprung up, didn't they?
The US office has rotted my brain then because I just think of Dwight Schrute.
Well, that is inspired by, like, comedically inspired by it, but yeah.
I don't really know.
I'm sure there's a lot of busybodies too.
I didn't include it. Somebody chime down in the comments if this is your favorite song.
Yeah, and especially if you're mad that Chase cut it.
Yeah, and if you're a member of something like the Kamurocho Guard, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, so they do this kind of thing. And he's like, hey, actually, there's a group that keeps trying to stop us from keeping peace. Can you help? And they're like, we always hear you're poor. We always hear you need money. We'll pay you. And he's like, aren't you a community group? And they're like, we have secret benefactors.
What does that mean?
Don't question it.
Don't even write the name down. It's fine.
Kamurocho Guard, bad blokes.
Yeah. TLDR, police scanner. You can get some rewards from this guy. So Tanimura is getting ready to move on when he gets a phone call from a Zhao. And Zhao's like, hey, Machan, I run into a little problem here. Would you mind stopping by the restaurant? Tanimura heads off to Zhao's restaurant, Homeland, settled in the heart of a place we've not been in a while, Little Asia. You might remember Little Asia from mainly Yakuza 0.
Yeah. It's where the Chinese community is.
Yeah,
isn't
it's the sprawling maze of back alleys and passages, home primarily to the Chinese immigrant population, but also home to a lot of the smaller, like, Southeastern Asian populations. Okay. So he heads back through the winding passages, walking right through the kitchens of Chinese restaurants and upstairs until winding at what appears to be the door of a girls' club. He leans up against the door next to a man in a fancy vest and bow tie, asking how business is. He lets out a frustrated sigh, handing Tanimura a wad of rolled up cash. That's twice now. I thought we agreed once a month. Give me a break. Tanimura continues leaning casually, not even looking at the owner. That girl you just got in, she Korean? Exchange student, maybe? Everyone knows it's illegal for foreigners to work here without a proper visa. But what you might not know is, knowingly hiring them's a crime as well. The owner kind of shifts uncomfortably, looking away from Tanimura. Getting caught, it's going to cost you 3 years. Well, either that or $3 million. The owner tries to tell him to give him a break, but he continues. Rumor has it you take advantage of these girls, knowing full well that they can't run to the cops. You want me turning a blind eye to that? Anyway, that'll be saved for later. Yeah, so he's fully just like...
This guy's icky.
This guy sucks. So we're playing as an actual corrupt cop. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt at first. I thought maybe, he's just a bit of a rogue and he gambles. But that's grim.
Taking advantage of people. Hey, I can turn a blind eye, but it's gonna cost you.
Yeah, real grim.
Yeah.
Real grim. How is the loan shark currently the most moral character? It's crazy.
Anyway, that can be all saved for later. For now, let him know if you ever see this woman. And he hands a picture of a young woman that we should recognize but didn't include. This is Yasuko from back in the 80s.
Right. Ah. Okay. Oh, we know that he's looking for Yasuko. He mentioned her, I think, in Akiyama's in passing.
Changed her hair a bit.
I don't think he did.
No, maybe not. Someone else is looking for Yasuko. Ignore me. Continue.
She just put her hair down. But no, that's Yasuko as we see her basically in the exact same outfit as well from the cutscene.
Oh, right. Okay.
Back in the 80s. Anyhow. He won't say who she is, please confidentially and all. Just to call if he sees her. Tanimura continues on through the cramped back streets of Little Asia. Neighbors wave to him, calling him Machan with warm smiles. The kids run up to him responding in Chinese to them. Which actually is a cool note from earlier. That as you talk to people, you learn that he speaks almost every Asian language. Because he grew up in Little Asia and there's so many commingling of all the different Asian cultures that he just kind of picked up basically every language. And he's also actually the police's official interpreter for most smaller Asian languages as a result.
And you mentioned in the very first episode the parallels between this and one, and thinking a little bit more there about, I know we're slightly off topic, but...
Yumi.
About Yumi, about the three friends where... one goes to jail for a long time to cover up for the other and comes out to the other being a successful Yakuza with this perceived betrayal.
Oh, yeah. That's a really good point.
To be fair, one of those was an actual betrayal.
Yeah, but these two have resolved it. And, obviously it makes me nervous for her.
Yeah. So he heads into a small restaurant, Homeland, that we should actually recognize. This is the same restaurant that back in Yakuza 0 was where the chief of... Little Asia lived. The one where above it, Tachibana was receiving his dialysis.
They got shot outside. Oh no, they got taken there after they got shot.
Well, they also got shot outside of it, yes. So same restaurant. It's called Homeland. So the restaurant is busy. A young girl named Mei Hua taking orders from hungry customers. She greets Tanimura in Chinese as he comes in, him responding fondly as he asks if Zhao is in, heading upstairs to the doctor's clinic above. He heads up, finding Zhao on the phone. Getting news that a Korean immigrant named Park was just deported. He's telling the person on the other line that he'll take in Park's daughter. Tanimura sits down, lighting up a cig as Zhao hangs up, telling Tanimura that another's joining their ranks. Seems her dad was involved in a minor traffic accident that allowed the cops to see that he'd overstayed his visa. The kid's only 5. She doesn't have anywhere else to go but here. Tanimura wears a pained expression, telling Zhao that it isn't much, but this should cover some expenses, and he pulls out that wad of cash from the other business owner. It seems that this is where most of Tanimura's earnings go, both from shakedowns and from gambling. Zhao seems to run basically not quite an orphanage, but kind of like he fosters in people who don't have anywhere else to go. in Kamurocho, so that's all getting mainly funded by Tanimura.
And he got that money by threatening to deport other illegal immigrants.
That's exactly what I was.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the moral code here? It must just be a personal tie to this place.
Yeah.
I think it probably is.
You're the dumper.
Oh, they're not fully really explained.
Is this not? This feels like the. Okay, sorry if I can continue. I'm so confused by this man.
Zhao chuckles, saying how he doesn't know what he'd do without Tanimura, but graciously accepting the cash, putting it in a little porcelain vase on the shelf. Tanimura tells Zhao about his questioning by Sugiyushi, saying how he didn't realize it at the time, but this murder was much bigger news. I think he kind of just stumbled on the body and he's like, this is really cool. Look, bullets definitely kill people, man.
Oh my God.
They always told me that in the police academy.
And he started fingering the body. I thought that he was gonna be some kind of savant, some sort of like, you know,
like a Herlock Sholmes type. Yeah.
But he was just a bored child with no idea. God.
I mean,
he probably took a 20 from the dead guy's wallet. Like this.
Chase, is Dati in this game? Oh, okay, maybe. Fair enough. Fingers crossed then. It's making me miss the days of Dati.
Dati can't help. He's not a dick anymore.
good to see you picking up that new vocabulary.
Yeah.
Tanimura tells Zhao about his questioning by Sugiyuchi, saying that he didn't realize it at the time, but this murder was much bigger news, big enough to turn the Tojo in on itself. Although he can't figure out why homicide is so concerned about mob activity. That's organized crime's job. I think homicide and criminal investigations are the same department. Cool. Zhao looks troubled, saying how the last thing that the city needs is another gang war. But wait, there's more.
It happens once a year.
But wait, there's more. The Ueno Seiwa are involved. The very clan that Tanimura's dad was investigating following the Yoshiharu Ueno hit. He doesn't know if they're connected, but the Ueno Seiwa have been quiet for 25 years. And now this shooting's thrown them into a frenzy. Something is definitely off. And if he follows it, it could potentially lead him to the truth about his dad. That's why he's looking for Yasuko. Because her brother Taiga is the one who carried out the hit. She's been missing ever since. And the last thing written in his dad's notebook, meet with Yasuko Saejima.
Okay.
Huh, okay.
Before he can continue that, though, he gets called from the manager of the Korean salon Midori. There's a woman who very conveniently exactly matches Yasuko's description right there, right now. Even Zhao's shocked at how fucking perfectly convenient that twist is.
I mean, it might be Thingmei's ex-girlfriend for all we know, you know?
I honestly wouldn't be surprised.
Tanimura rushes over to Pink Street where the manager's waiting for him outside, but he's acting real sussy baka. He awkwardly asks if it's really the girl he's looking for. How would Tanimura mind... he awkwardly asks if it's really the girl that he's looking for, how would Tanimura mind holding off the inspection on Midori next month? They got a whole new batch of girls from Korea and it would really do them some good. Tanimura crosses his arm, a deep scowl. Oh yeah? Then I guess it wouldn't hurt to pay them what they deserve as well, right? Maybe not skim off the top this time? Treat your workers with respect and maybe they make sure they make a decent living, and then maybe we'll see what we can do about that inspection. Okay. The manager hurriedly agrees, heading inside and fetching the girl. She comes out, confused, saying that the manager said Tanimura wanted to see her. His eyes go wide, a small gasp leaving his face. Incredible. Some people hardly change, even in 25 years. She's confused until he pulls out a small picture of her. I've been looking for you for a very, very long time. Which would not sound creepy at all from a total stranger. She's shocked, trying not to say anything. Even as he pulls out his badge to show that he's a cop, which honestly kind of frightens her more. He asks her about the shooting in 85, but she swears that she doesn't know anything about that shooting. Or she's about any shooting. He's not able to get much more information, though, as her eyes go wide again, staring past him at two Shibata family goons who have just strut up, shouting about how they finally found the little hussy. You're Shibata's men. I don't know why I put that as if I didn't say it. They were Shibata men. Tanimura walks up to them, the one in the lead taking a good look at him. What? You Dutch that money grubber for this, dickhead? Not that I give a rat's ass. You still owe our boss a visit. Unfortunately for these fine gentlemen, Tanimura's interview wasn't concluded yet, so they're in the need of a little community policing.
Right.
By the time the scuffle dies down, Yasuko is nowhere to be seen. One of the men sneers up at Tanimura. She's probably popping bottles with the boss by now. Or popping his bottle, perhaps.
Yeah.
Feeling like he's bought enough time, he tells Tanimura, by now they're probably at the docks. He doesn't know what they're doing there, but knowing the boss, he's sure it's nothing good.
So Shibata was in love with her, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And either the less likely is that she betrayed Goro and I almost said Saitama there.
Saitama.
One Punch Man.
Yeah. Or she refused his advances, went back with Majima and Thingy, and so Shibata got them out of the way as part of this plan.
I'm not convinced that that's Yasuko.
That is.
So that's AKA Lily, who we saw
Yes.
maybe like a day before with a bag of cash about to leave the city.
Yep.
So she stuck around.
Yeah.
I think it's Eri, and I think you're lying to me.
Okay. You're welcome to think that.
It's very rare you do. It was very rare you make things clear, though, so I should probably take. Well, it's very rare, like, you don't not confirm theories, so I should probably just take that. Okay. Fine. So he's still here for reasons.
I'll just quash a theory right now because it's never getting answered. Eri and Yasuko are different people. They're not related. Eri never comes back up. Ever.
Are you joking?
No, she never comes back up.
Do we ever
genuinely it was a coincidence.
Like I will let
Genuinely
you take that off your conspiracy board. She never shows back up.
What a waste of time. Okay.
She was purely there just for Akiyama to go, "Oh my gosh, you look like my ex and now I'm in love with you."
Do we ever weird? Do we ever? It's so weird. Do we ever find out more then? And I don't need more information. Just do we ever find out more about Akiyama's past and the random like billion yen or whatever that he was accused of with bank fraud? Is that a relevant plot point? Okay, you're shrugging, so the answer is yes. But it was not Eri then, presumably. Okay, weird. All right, continue then.
So Tanimura rushes to the docks, fighting erupting from the moment that he steps out of the taxi. I'd like to think that the Yakuza were very respectful of the taxi driver themselves. You know, letting him pull up, letting him, park, letting Tanimura pay him. And the second he opens the door, they just rush Tanimura as he drives away. He fights his way through, navigating through the maze of shipping containers to get deeper into the dockyard. The Shibata family are taking absolutely zero chances, though. They try to run him over with a lorry. Somebody pours crude oil on him and lights him on fire.
Oh my god.
During which he narrowly rolls out of the way of the fireball with like kind of the crude oil dripping off him. A guy pulls out a machine gun trying to mow him down. They try to crush him with a pile of logs.
Oh wow.
No, they're kind of just
Fucking Looney Tunes.
they're kind of just going at it.
It's like, was this, is it all Acme branded?
He grabs one of them, using him as our forefather once did, as a meat shield, walking towards the other as they fire into their own family's back.
Yeah.
Until Tanimura grabs a katana and lunges it into the throat of the guy who's like a javelin.
These games are better than the games we cover, aren't they? I've just that thought. Just
Seriously. Oh yeah, he's fully he's holding one guy, using him as a meat shield, so he can get towards the guy with the machine gun, and then eventually he picks up a katana off somebody and just launches it into the machine gun guy's throat.
Oh, we see it like penetrate.
Yeah.
That's a canonical kill.
Yeah, most of them have canonical kills.
No, but like an actual canonical kill. Tanimura kills people.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a cop. He's a cop. Of course he does.
Yeah. But I mean, like Saijima's walking around going like, "I don't kill no more."
No, he shot several people at the prison.
Not anymore.
Yes, at the prison. He shot several guards.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, forgot about that. Fair enough. Continue. It's just interesting.
Most characters do kill. It's literally just Kiryu, who has canonically never killed.
Never killed.
Yes.
And does not kill.
That's what Chase told us, everyone, so we believe it.
Yeah.
Eventually, he finally makes his way into the central warehouse, making his way up to the office on the top floor. He stops behind the door, opening it a crack so he can sneak in, peering around. Inside is Shibata and another man. It seems like everything's going quite smoothly. Simply lay low for a while and wait until the storm blows over. Then things can proceed. Got that, Arai? Shibata says how Daigo would never suspect that they're hiding him here. Quite the bargain for one little finger, eh? Arai laughs in response. Oh, that little charade of yours? He looks over at Shibata's hand, which still has all 5 fingers.
Ah.
Interesting.
Shibata tells him that he'll be meeting with Katsuragi tomorrow afternoon to work out the finer details of the truce. It'll be held at Cafe Alps of all fucking places. Sure. It's like a casual cafe in Kamurocho.
Croissant while you're there. So does Arai seem to be in on this? Or is he like... Yeah.
Cool. Oh, so it's not that he messed up and now Shibata's...
No, Arai is seemingly here in partnership with Shibata.
Right.
And if the finger trick means that he's not planning for Dojima to survive. Like, he can't now go back in front of Dojima with 5 fingers and go, no. Kidding.
Well, no, he is clearly in bed with Katsuragi somehow.
Yeah.
And he just needed Daigo to think that, he's actually paying penance because he's helping Katsuragi with the plan to get Kamurocho Hills.
Yeah, but that also makes me think that he wants to supplant Daigo.
I'm not following this.
I think lying so publicly and obviously to the head of the Tojo, he can never show his face again.
Yeah.
You know? He can't pretend to have cut off his finger out of a sign of like deference and honor and come back and go, I was kidding. I
feel like characters have done much worse. The chairman?
Sure.
Okay, so Arai and Shibata are working together.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah. Arai is concerned that the Tojo will find out how public that is, but Shibata now has the cover of making further reparations to the Ueno Seiwa. So that was the whole thing, is he's like, I cut off my finger because I needed to show, and now they have that cover of like, if they ever need to meet in public, he's just actually making further reparations.
Right.
And although he can understand the concern, especially with this woman and the unexpected headache she caused, they look over at Yasuka, who is tied and gagged on a couch in the corner of the room. Shibata walks over, ripping the gag off, saying how odd it is to have the one responsible for all this chaos sitting in front of him. He asks why she's been singling out Shibata men, her responding that she didn't have a choice. She never thought that she'd manage to get the 100 million. Arai glares over, telling Shibata that they already know that she spilt his men's blood. He'd be happy to return the favor personally, but no, Shibata still wants to know what prompted her to kill his men in cold blood. And one more thing. He walks forward, ripping the buttons off her top, revealing her lace undergarments beneath, running his hand over her. She clearly has a way with her body. I'd like to get a taste myself. Bang! A shot rings out as Shibata grasps his chest, falling to the ground. Behind him, Arai stands with his guns smoking.
Yeah.
You've outlived your purpose.
Badass Arai. Yeah. Told you, he's a cool customer. I wrote it down. Day one.
Is that a note you have, cold customer?
I wrote, cold customer.
With how many O's?
3 O's.
Just to really make sure.
That's 3 times as cold as most people.
Yeah, that's true.
Shibata looks up, struggling to demand to know what Arai's doing, but he tells him not to worry. This was always the plan. Her part to play isn't done. They still need her. That is, himself and Katsuragi, in addition to a handful of their collaborators. When did you switch sides to Katsuragi? Shibata's face contorts in fury. You have it wrong, Shibata-san. I've been in his camp from the very beginning.
Damn it.
He lowers his gun again, firing off twice more into Shibata's chest, leaving him bleeding out in a puddle on the floor. I'll tell you this in your final moments. That incident 25 years ago, you set that all up with Katsuragi's son, correct? You agreed to help him so that you could secure a better position within the Tojo clan, but time and time again, you've used the truth as leverage to extort favors. As far as Katsuragi-san's concerned, you're nothing but dead weight. Shibata looks up in fear as Arai readies his gun once more, but before he can pull the trigger, Tanimura finally decides to burst in with a classic, "Police, drop your weapon!" Arai spins on the spot, firing at Tanimura without a second's hesitation, forcing him to take cover behind the doorway, using it to escape via the side entrance. Tanimura starts to go after him, but decides against it, going to Shibata, trying to get answers about the hit before he dies. Unfortunately, to no avail, as Shibata breathes his last in his arms.
Wow. Shibata's quite a significant person to off, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote down Arai's working with Shibata. I've now had to cross out Shibata and write Katsuragi.
Yeah.
So I called it episode 1. The attack between the Ueno and Arai was staged, presumably.
Potentially.
Yeah. Or rather, maybe that Ueno guy was just like too big for his boots.
dummy.
Yeah, big dummy. He's got in the way.
Well, he did just get promoted that morning, so I'm assuming he was a sacrificial lamb.
Is Arai going to be our rooftop boss?
Probably.
Our big final boss.
Yeah. It's either him or purple shirt guy.
Yeah.
Why not Keto?
Well, Keto,
pretty spicy.
Keto's kind of suspicious at this point.
He's kind of spicy.
Yeah.
I think Keto knows what Arai's up to, but I think Keto's just a pawn for Arai. That's my running theory.
Why not maybe Date? I think Date could do it.
Date needs to appear quite soon for that to be the case.
Chapter 2, The Perpetrator. Tanimura takes Yasuko and returns to Homeland. Sirens blare in the background, Xiao listening on as he tells Tanimura that they better stay the night. Him and Meihua look at Yasuko with looks of concern across their faces. Tanimura promises her that she'll be safe from the police here. She doesn't understand, though, why did he risk his life to protect her? Tanimura looks over at Xiao in the kitchen, gesturing his head. Xiao grabs a tray, walking over with 2 cups of tea. This is the house special blend. Puts the dishwater most other places called tea to shame. 1 sip, and you'll feel right at home. Indeed, a small smile comes to Yasuko's lips, seeing the gesture. They finish their tea and get to talking. Yasuko's still confused. Tanimura's a cop, and he heard what she did, but honestly, he's community safety, not homicide. He doesn't have any evidence to accuse her of a crime, even if he wanted to. He doesn't give a shit. She can kill whoever she wants.
That's how that works.
He gets to it, pulling out his dad's journal, saying that he's been looking for her for 10 years. On the page, it says that 25 years ago, on April 30th, 1985, she was meant to meet with his dad. That night, they fished his body out of the ARKHAM River. Her look betrays that she clearly knew his father, although she's shocked to learn his fate. She tells him that they were meant to meet at a cafe in Kamurocho, but that morning he called and asked to reschedule to the afternoon, from the afternoon to the evening, a time that he never arrived to. All he told her on the call was that her brother pulled the trigger on those men. But he wasn't the real perpetrator. That he'd have proof of it soon. It isn't as simple as aggression between 2 Yakuza factions. It's all part of a greater plot. One orchestrated by a powerful force. When Tanimura's father never showed to that meeting that night, scared, Yasuko left Kamurocho. That was still a groundbreaking clue, though. The killer might not have been from the Tojo or Ueno. It never made sense. A cop killing? That would normally raise hell at the force. All stops pulled out, but his father's obvious murder was classified as accidental. If there really was a greater force behind it all. He turns the conversation back to Yasuko, asking why she's returned to Kamurocho and bumping off Shibata Man. He promises that the police won't hear any of this. They wouldn't believe him anyway. Hesitantly, she reveals that she was contracted by Katsuragi, saying that he could save Taiga for either the price of 100 million or a murder.
Right, okay.
Murder.
Yeah. 8 months ago, she got a call out of the blue from someone claiming to be a detective in Tokyo, saying that they knew someone who could save Taiga. Hearing that it was the police, she never thought to question it. The person she was meant to meet, of course, was Katsuragi, who, of course, was one of the supposed victims of the shooting 25 years ago. If he testified that Taiga wasn't the killer, the case would have to be re-examined. She never thought that she'd be able to get 100 million, so murder seemed the only option. She didn't actually know the man she was killing were Shibata family, only that Katsuragi told her eliminating them would help prove Taiga's innocence. Likely those who knew the truth from back when Shibata was working with Katsuragi. But why would Arai work with Katsuragi? He speculates that Arai was likely responsible for the shooting the other day that he stumbled upon, but was he the mastermind? Well, we're getting no answers here. Better go get Katsuragi to tell us himself. He still needs Yasuko, so she'll be the perfect bait to bring him to the negotiating table.
Absolutely brutal that she killed all those guys and 2 days later got the 100 million.
Oh,
yeah. The detective is presumably Sugiyuchi, the interrogator asshole cop. I have no reasoning behind that, on the fact that he's the only cop that we know of aside from this guy.
Dante.
And he's like, don't stick your head in, you'll get killed.
Yeah, like he seems to be weirdly invested in the whole thing. I don't know why he'd be so keen to make all this work, but that's presumably
because he was his
could also just
dad's partner.
It could have just been a lie, yeah. It could have just been a Yakuza.
Nah, he was his dad's partner 25 years ago, and he sold him out and covered up the fact that it was a murder.
Something.
Something.
Yeah.
But she can't. She needs his testimony. It's the only way to save the definitely not already out of prison Taiga. But Tanimura isn't so sure that he'll even testify. He's just using her. But he promises that he can clear Tanimura's name and that he's definitely not just using her as bait. You're selfish. What do you think you can actually do for me? You only care about your own issues. My brother meant the world to me. I loved him so much, more than anything. Ever since my brother walked out of my life that day, this whole time I've been alone. You're not the only one who's lost someone precious.
That's actually pretty selfish of you. What do you only think about yourself? Oh, my brother, you know.
I hate you all. The Yakuza, the police, and Katsuragi too, who definitely does not fall under the category of the Yakuza. I don't even care who's behind all this. All I've ever wanted to do is see my brother again. Tanimura sits back down, asking her again for help. He swears that he'll reunite her with Taiga and make it so that she never has to kill again. Zhao tries to back him up, telling her that they really aren't so different. She looks down, wiping tears from her eyes, and looks back up, placing a key on the table. It's to a car parked in the underground parking garage. In the trunk of that car is 100 million yen. She says that she's done horrible things for Katsuragi. She thought it would be once, twice, but the demands never stopped. She never wanted to kill. That's why she borrowed the money from the owner of Sky Finance, a man named Akiyama. That money can be leveraged to make Katsuragi testify. As for her, she's leaving for Okinawa immediately. She was told by a guard at Tokyo Penitentiary that Taiga was transferred down there and his execution is scheduled in 2 days.
Oh, God. He's right. He's just up the road. Yeah.
Oh, no.
She tried visiting him every single day for 25 years, but they never allowed her to see him once. Guess the guard felt sorry enough for her to at least tell her about his transfer. If nothing else works, she wants to at least be near him when he goes. She gets up, telling Tanimura that he's her only hope, and she leaves. Tanimura heads out for the parking lot, but just outside finds a police attempting unsuccessfully to converse with a woman speaking Tagalog. Lucky for him, Tanimura is the police's official interpreter, so he takes over. The woman's name is Nair. She's a Filipino detective who's come to Tokyo to track down a man named Gigi, who killed her parents and brother. She's also Tanimura's move tutor. And she also teaches him about revelations. I'm skipping this entire side quest line, so shock horror twist, Gigi actually is her brother, and you defeat and arrest him on the roof of the Millennium Tower. Nice.
Cool. Oh, it's a roof battle.
Yeah, it's a roof battle.
Well, even if this game doesn't end with one, then at least there is a roof battle in this game.
In a side quest.
Ah, okay.
And our move tutor got a narrative arc, kind of.
Or a narrative twist. Yeah, that's fun.
I mean, it could have been better. It should have been a lover's
brothers.
A lover's brother's almost suicide in the Millennium Tower roof.
Yeah.
Tanimura heads for the parking garage, trying the key on every car until, which is fucking annoying. You do try it. I'm like,
why didn't he tell us?
What make is the car?
It's a white Vauxhall.
Until finally finding the black Mercedes, actually, that it belongs to, and in its trunk, the 100 million yen still in the same briefcase Akiyama gave it to her in.
And Tanimura, because he's a shit guy, he's just going to take that and give it to the guy he's been giving the money to this whole time.
He's going to give it to help the community of Little Asia. What a shit.
Nah, it's still only for selfish reasons, though, isn't it?
I think
helping children, selfish reasons.
Backhands an undocumented immigrant on his way.
I think he does good things, but with potentially unjustifiable means.
And as we know, the ends always justify the means.
Right,
Look, I wrote worst in my notebook. I'll have to bleep it. And I'm not scoring it out because I'm sick of scoring things out. This game is a whole story of scoring things out. Oh, this is like a pretty complex conspiracy, this one.
But it's not 12D chess.
No, I'm not hating it.
It's weird. It's weird because there's a lot of twists, but it never feels like 12D chess.
No.
Yeah.
In the same way that some of the prior games did.
The pieces are just so scattered, and we're missing just a few to start. But I think we've got enough here to start piecing stuff together. I'm just too tired to do it yet.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Here we go. Come on.
Sorry. So yeah, continue.
So he has the 100 million. Now he just needs to get in contact with Katsuragi. Lucky for him, he doesn't need He doesn't need to think at all about it because the plot has places to be. So the second he steps out of the garage, he gets a phone call from somebody claiming to deal in information.
Amazing.
Who can put him in contact with Katsuragi for a price.
Thank you, Florist of Sai.
He wants to see how good a detective Tanimura is. He'll text him the details. Fucking hate the Florist in Yakuza 4. He's just a plot contrivance. Sure enough, not a moment after hanging up, he receives a text with a picture of a Kamurocho rooftop saying that an informant will be waiting for him from a place where the tower in the picture can be seen. This is the stupidest thing. It's literally like a find the place puzzle. He sends you a picture of a rooftop. You go to the rooftop. A guy gives you a bouquet.
What's in the bouquet?
A card with information, presumably. That's what he does normally.
There's a bouquet that says, "Well done, Gumshoe. You take after your papa more than I expected. I suppose I should uphold my end of the bargain. You'll be getting a call from Katsuragi soon. What you do next is up to you. Just make sure you don't waste this chance." Which I guess we're going to glaze over the fact that the florist seemingly is in enough with Katsuragi that he can get Katsuragi to call him. This is never explained. We're just going to glaze over that one. The florist, such a morally questionable man.
Yeah, just in with everyone, I guess.
Yeah.
Katsuragi wastes no time, calls him immediately. We never have to wait around in a Tanimura plot. Tanimura is still holding the fucking bouquet when his phone starts ringing. He goes, "Tanimura, one of Kamurocho's finest. To what do I owe the honor?" Tanimura tells him that he has a deal to offer. He has Yasuko Saejima, and he hasn't called it in yet. Only he knows her whereabouts. He also knows all the details about Katsuragi's order to Yasuko and his need for her. Katsuragi asks what Tanimura wants in return, him replying that he wants details on the death of Taigi Tanimura. Ignore the fact that's very close to Taiga, it's just coincidental.
That's his dad, right?
Lead detective on the Ueno Seiwa hit case. Why did he have to die? Katsuragi asks if this is his son he's speaking to, but Tanimura has no time for chit-chat. Katsuragi agrees under one condition. He needs solid evidence of his connection to Yasuko or he won't believe that he has her. Tanimura offers up the 100 million as evidence. Katsuragi goes quiet, clearly a bit shocked that she actually managed to put together the cash, but ultimately decides a street cop like Tanimura wouldn't be able to get the brass to give him that much cash for a sting operation. He agrees, saying that one of his men will verify it, allowing Tanimura to select the date. Tomorrow, 5 p.m. in front of the Millennium Tower. Nice and in public peak hours. Katsuragi's impressed. He agrees, hanging up the phone. He heads back to Homeland to rest up the meeting, catching up with Zhao on everything, and leaving the briefcase with him for safekeeping. The next day, Tanimura heads to the tower, weirdly having the money...
I really thought... So I know I'm actually slowing things down, but I really thought you were about to go, right, and now we're going to go on a fetch quest, and now we're going to get bottles of beer, and...
I suppose this is a good time to say, Tanimura actually has the best side story, and I didn't include it.
That's fine.
Sorry.
On to the next bit.
Fine, don't care. We're getting enough character in the main plot.
Yeah.
It's cool.
No, TLDR, Tanimura's dad had like a cold case, and you end up helping his old partner, who's a trans woman, solve it. Weirdly good trans rep in the game, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Right, let's hit it.
I don't think I skipped one where like all that money that Tanimura's been giving Zhao gets stolen.
Oh.
Boom. That's
Well,
fine.
we get it back. It's fine.
Money's not there for a bit, then it is.
Sorry.
The next day, Tanimura heads to the tower, weirdly having moved the money into a new, now metal briefcase for some reason. Not really sure why he changed the briefcase. More secure.
He thought it looked like what people in movies did, probably.
Yeah.
I feel like the BLACKGATE briefcase looked more like that.
In the 50s, maybe. Come on, get with the times, Chase. We're all cutting about with metal briefcases.
It's 2010. Robbie Williams has just finished, getting out of rehab.
I swear to fucking God. Get the monkey out of this discussion. I've always seen myself as less evolved.
Chimpanzees aren't monkeys. You may continue.
For the next 6 hours, your asses are mine.
I hate to tell you, this episode's going to be a lot longer than 6 hours. Try 10, bitch.
For the next 20 hours.
Normally in a weekend, we'll aim to cover about 4 or 5 games. This is Saturday. It's like 6 p.m. and we're still on Yakuza 4.
With about a third to go. Right, come on.
Oh, so he's at the tower with the money. Before long, a voice comes behind him. Did I keep you waiting long? Tanimura turns, coming face to face with Katsuragi himself. There's the briefcase.
Is he wearing a fur jacket?
That's a look.
Oh no, I think it's just the render. I think it's like a.
It's a very puffy jacket. Yeah, a lot of glossy textures in this game. He tells Tanimura that he's been here a while. Tanimura probably actually saw him in the crowd, but he didn't recognize him. Good. Tells him that Tanimura doesn't have much of a file on him. He asks if Tanimura would like to get the deal underway there, but no, Tanimura wants to walk and talk. You really thought this through. A moving target's harder to hit. Tanimura laughs. Not to mention, I thought you'd appreciate a nice long stroll through Tojo clan turf. They begin walking. Katsuragi saying that, which this cutscene's hilarious, because the entire time they're talking, you can't, if I remember right, you can't actually change the pace. This is like all the text boxes are like auto progressed because they are literally walking down like a predefined path as they're going.
Oh yeah.
They're not just like going in circles. Katsuragi's like, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Tanimura is mistaken on the reason for his father's death. Tanimura tells him that he heard everything that Arai said when he killed Shibata, and Katsuragi agrees that, in part, that's true. Namely, that his father did his homework on Shibata and his connections regarding the incident. In fact, Katsuragi authored the script himself, knew exactly the time and place that Saejima would carry it out. Tanimura's confused. Why make himself a victim of a shooting that he set up? Katsuragi laughs, saying again that he knew every last detail of the attack. So you wore body armor? Something like that. Let's just say that I was thorough with my preparations, that's all.
No, Chase, are we ever going to learn any more details?
No, I'll take it. I mean, I said the whole thing was set up. That means the guns were blanks. I think I'm close.
It's just, you showed us that scene and it was cool. And I want to make sure it's not bullshit.
This feels nice, doesn't it?
They're patting my head, everyone.
Weird.
Tanimura says then that he authored it to kill off the family officers and make it look like a Tojo hit. Katsuragi replies that at the time of the hit, he was 22. Shibata was 30. They were both understood that rising up the ranks at their age meant decisive action had to be taken. And it worked. Katsuragi rose to a lieutenant, and Shibata to a top officer of the Tojo. Tanimura comments how Katsuragi seems very nonchalant about it all, but Katsuragi just kind of shrugs, saying, it's been 25 years. He could give a play-by-play down to the minute, and the police still couldn't touch him. It's true, because he used Yasuko and Arai for all the hits. His hands are technically clean, so statute of limitations do apply. But back to the original matter. Why did older Tanimura have to die? Well, it seems that he dug too deep during his investigation, discovering corruption within the upper echelons of the police force. According to Katsuragi, the police stage a cover-up for the hit, concealing the real killer and leaving Taiga Saejima to take the fall. Wait, real killer? That's right! Saejima may have popped those boys with bullets, but somebody else finished the job.
What does that mean?
Tanimura's dad figured that out, but never thought the police would bury his findings, let alone himself. Tanimura demands to know who it was that finished his father. Katsuragi laughs, lighting up a smoke. Can't remember the last time I was outside at this time of day. But first, your end of the bargain. Tell me where Yasuko Saejima is. Tanimura scowls, slowly lowering the briefcase to the ground. The 100 mil is all his if he'll forget about Yasuko. She's already left for Okinawa. She's done working for him. Katsuragi lets out a deep laugh, flicking his cigarette. I'm afraid it's all too late. Too late for Yasuko Saejima, and too late for you. Tanimura looks around, noticing for the first time that the typically busy afternoon streets of Kamurocho are barren. Not a soul in sight. The sound of footsteps growing louder as he turns, seeing a small army of Yakuza headed straight for him. Yasuko Saejima can wait. The problem in front of me takes priority, but let me tell you this in your final moments. The one who killed those 18 men, all the way back in 1985? Well, he walks up until his face is an inch from Tanimura's, whispering into his ear as he passes by. It was me.
Oh.
Good twist.
So Saejima, not a killer.
But what does that mean?
Well, not back then.
Means he killed him.
But so Saejima walks in, guns everyone down, they're blanks. Katsuragi then gets up and walks around with a fully loaded gun and bang, bang, bang when they're all on the floor pretending to be dead?
You killed him. He continues He continues walking as two men run up, grabbing Tanimura's arms. Oh, and by the way, that restaurant you love so much, Homeland, was it? I've arranged for its owner to be taken care of. Better hurry before time runs out, or that Chinese gentleman and his cute little daughter will be gone forever.
Katsuragi's a good little villain here. This is a good little spin.
Tanimura struggles against the men, shouting after Katsuragi. If he was the one who killed his father, he doesn't even turn around. Haven't the slightest idea. As he walks through the crowd of men. The circle of men encroaches on Tanimura when a cop car plows through the wall of men. I wrote it all in caps so I could jump scare.
God damn! It peaked on Neil's mic.
A cop car plows through the wall of men, screeching to a halt in front of Tanimura.
Plow those men! Plow those men!
Tsukiyuchi steps out with several more cops, guns drawn. Break it up, slime balls! He looks over at Tanimura, shouting at him to get the hell out of here. Or is he just gonna let that asshole off his friends? Tanimura shouts a quick thanks, grabbing the briefcase and making a run for it. Kamurocho streets are swarmed with Ueno men that Tanimura needs to fight through. And they're not just after him, they want the money too. One grabs the briefcase, Tanimura has to do a whole, rooftop pursuit to get it back. And then finally he does make it to the entrance of one of the entrances of Little Asia, finding a little girl standing strong, blocking the entrance against three towering men. Tanimura rushes up, getting between them and handing the little girl the briefcase, whispering to her to take it to Homeland, giving her a chance to run while he lays waste to the men. That issue dealt with, he makes a break for Homeland, finding Zhao and Mei Hua fine, and also really confused as to why he's out of breath. Oh, and by the way, Mei Hua gestures over at the corner table. There's someone here to see you. Tanimura, glad to see you're safe, says a worried-looking Chief Hasai.
Where the hell is Goro Majima and his 500,000 men?
Yeah.
This has nothing to do.
Yeah, but they can clear out the high streets on Kamurocho, and none of Majima's guys are walking by and go, well, better take a look at that. Okay.
Chapter 3, Door to the Truth.
Woo!
Oh, Tanimura really doesn't waste any time.
It's because I'm skipping side content.
Fair.
I had more side content in the first two parts, and then I realized how long the script was. Tanimura catches everybody up on the new revelations from Katsuragi. He saw a wife trying to throw a knife at her husband. She saw a guy get, panty flashed. Lots of revelations.
Oh, terrible.
Hisai is beyond glad to see that he made it out of there alive. He got a call from Sugiyuchi that Tanimura had tried to contact the Ueno, so he had come out to search for him before he got himself hurt. Hisai asks Tanimura if he fully understands the gravity of the situation, how dangerous the Ueno is right now. With Tanimura confirmed that he definitely does now, but something's still bothering him. Katsuragi's story about a police cover-up. Hisai unfortunately doesn't know anything about it. He's not in homicide, and even if he was, back in 85, he was bottom of the totem pole. The police seem to be protecting Katsuragi, and they obviously don't want the scandal being made public. I've got an idea, Hisai pipes up. Maybe we can dig something up at headquarters. Archive Room 13 on basement level 3. The so-called Forbidden Room. Also known as the Scandal Graveyard.
Oh, that's from
Yakuza 2.
Yeah.
We've been down there.
It's where Kiryu bashes the desk and then storms out the room.
It is.
Yes, I remember that.
It
He
could
was
be...
so angsty back then.
He was. It could be just a rumor, but Tanimura is ready to jump all over it. He's ready to bounce on it. Crazy style.
That is, for anyone listening in 5 years' time, that is Chase referring to a meme based on the movie Nosferatu that has just come out in the last few weeks in our timeline.
Fucking great movie.
Terrible
10
mustache.
out of 10. Incorrect.
Terrible mustache.
Incorrect. I want to bounce on that mustache.
And I haven't seen it yet.
Hisai tries to warn him, though, saying that it's smack dab in the middle of headquarters. And besides, a rookie like him would need permission. Which I have a note saying we'll just ignore that an ex-cop and a fucking Yakuza ex-chairman got in there with no problem. But a rookie who's actually a cop currently couldn't. Tanimura was never going to ask, though, why bother when the perpetrator can cover up murder? Which, valid. Zhao and Hisai are beyond anxious about the plan, but resign defeat. Alright, are we ready to go? Hisai's face kind of bulks. What? We as in you and me? And he goes, of course! Us community safety boys gotta stick together, right? Besides, I've only been to HQ maybe once, twice. Tanimura grabs the chief by the arm, dragging him out of Homeland and into the back of a taxi headed straight to HQ.
Is the scandal graveyard a concept in the Judgment games, out of curiosity? Because it feels very much like the plot room. If the Florida Society is the plot man.
Judgment doesn't involve cops, so...
Oh, I just thought like lawyers, maybe they go and they're like, oh, find out what the cops have. No? Oh, fair enough. Curious.
They head down to the archive room with no problem, so I'm not really sure why they made it seem like it was going to be a problem. Tanimura scans the shelves before finally coming across a case file. It reads exactly as we know the story to have gone when describing the shooting itself. He flips to the page, turning the report section on the investigation. The Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department formed a special investigation team led by detectives Taigi Tanimura and Junji Sugiyuchi. You called it.
Sugiyuchi.
You did it. Good job. I think you were joking back then.
No, I wasn't. There was only 2 other cops, and it had to be someone.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Oh, yeah, Sugiyuchi probably killed Tanimura then. Okay.
I thought it was a joke because I had never mentioned him having a partner.
Young Sugi... Well, all cops have partners. Young Sugiyuchi, kind of a baddie. Kind of cute.
He looks nothing like Tanimura, though.
No.
No, also, that's not young Sugiyuchi. That's Tanimura.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, kind of a baddie. Okay, so Asshole Cop was the partner of Asshole Cop's dad. Other Asshole Cop.
Tanimura puts down the report. That's all the lead that he needs. He heads back to Homeland, updating Zhao. Why would Sugiyuchi hide the fact that he worked alongside his dad? Especially for as long as they've known each other and him knowing how much Tanimura wanted to know. He can't get over the feeling that it may have somehow been someone on the force who did his dad in. Zhao calls up Mei Hua, telling her to get Ma-chan's futon ready, telling him that he needs to rest up for what's to come. Chapter 4.
Wow, what? Chapter 3 is like a minute.
Yeah, that chapter was fucking...
Is it just go to Scandal Graveyard?
That chapter is less than a page long.
Wow.
It is the only chapter like that. I'm not really sure why that chapter is that short.
We had that happen in one of the other games randomly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chapter 4. A detective's honor.
Why not?
Arthur.
The next morning, Tanimura grabs the briefcase, getting ready to head out. He's headed to return it to some moneylender over at a place called Sky Finance or something. Can you imagine how much interest 100 million yen would rack up if I just let it sit? Forget that. He heads to Sky Finance, thinking to himself how, it was here all along, before heading up, calling out, asking if anyone's in. From the couch, a half-asleep, disgruntled Akiyama shuffles, pulling a magazine off his face as he sits up, asking how he can help. He gets up, looking over at Tanimura, a wave of recognition washing over like both of them, as he goes, so you're the one who lent Yasuko-chan that 100 mil. Akiyama's face goes confused. Yasuko? Don't you mean Lily-chan? How do you know her real name? They sit down, Tanimura telling him all about Yasuko and why she needed the 100 mil. He looks fairly distraught, wishing that she had made her way to him earlier. Maybe he could have saved her from going down a dark path. Regardless, though, Tanimura takes out the briefcase, placing it on the table in front of Akiyama. But he refuses to take it. Doesn't matter to him how things went down, he lent that money to Yasuko, not him, and he's only accepting it back from her. Besides, he has more money than God. And he's not interested in making more.
I wipe my ass with that.
He could...
I'll take a bath in that, sorry.
Yeah.
He couldn't give a rat's ass if he sees that 100 million. The only one he's willing to let bathe in that is Yasuko.
Yes.
He tries explaining his money-lending philosophy to Tanimura, but he doesn't understand at all.
We don't understand. Hannah didn't understand. Right?
Akiyama sighs. Point is, I'm not taking that money. He asks where she is anyway, with Tanimura telling him that about her going to Okinawa to be with Taiga. Knew she was a keeper. Oh, did I not mention I fell for her? So I'd really like to see her again. Unfortunately, this money's kind of the only connection between us. If I take it from you, that connection's cut and I'll probably never see her again. So he doesn't actually give a shit about the money lending philosophy. He just wants to see her.
Akiyama, best character.
Yeah?
I love Akiyama.
Yeah?
It's great, yeah. Really fun.
I told you, he's like top 3 favorite characters for me. Tanimura jokes about love only lasting as long as money. Ain't that the truth? Pretty sad, huh? Almost as sad as all this Arai business. Arai? Tanimura kind of questions, but before Akiyama can answer, his phone rings. It's Kido. He quickly takes the call and returns to Tanimura, telling him that he's helping him find his boss Arai. He's a real good kid. Tanimura gets serious, asking why he's looking for Arai. Well, because I can't afford to lose Arai. He continues saying how the Shibata are looking for him to give to the Ueno, and they need to find him first. Tanimura still wants to know the connection. He's suspicious, but it's just personal interest. Still, this whole business is a real kick in the sack. Who'd have thought Arai was in bed with Katsuragi? But as for the call, seems that Kido found the other Ueno-gun from that night. The one who disappeared post-shooting. The guy's name is Mishima. He was sworn brothers with Ihara, the guy that Arai ventilated downstairs. Seems that he wants police protection in return for everything that he knows. But he wants a cop that he can trust will protect him from the Ueno. Which is, very convenient for Tanimura. Might even lead him closer to the truth of it all. Akiyama certainly thinks the recent events could be connected to his dad's case. Akiyama gets serious. If Arai's been taking orders from Katsuragi in the sly, maybe the bullet in Ihara's head was all just a part of that plan. A small part of his and Shibata's plan to rule the Tojo. That's where Yasuko comes in. He uses her to erase anyone who knew what really happened in 85, a real-life femme fatale. But why now? He's had 25 years to snuff them out. Something must have set him off, caused him to panic. Had to make sure that everyone who knew the truth in 85 was gone before he offed Ihara. It's possible even Katsuragi is following orders, or is it possible even Katsuragi is following orders from somebody else? It must be somebody who can't afford to let the truth slip. Like top police brass who staged the cover-up. There's a rat on the force.
Hey, I wonder why that guy didn't tell me that he was partners with my dad for years.
Yeah.
Tanimura decides that he'll meet with Mishima, but he's setting a trap. He's a liability, not only for Katsuragi, but for the traitor on the force too. If he calls the meeting in, the traitor should come running. It's risky, but he's ready. He's going to either solve this case or die trying. Akiyama tells Mishima, tells him that Mishima is hiding out at the docks. Tanimura calls it in to organize crime and heads off. As he heads for a taxi, he hears whispered, frantic calls from the Yakuza walking the streets. They're looking for Mishima. Top priority. Tanimura grabs a taxi, heading straight for the docks. He heads into the central warehouse, finding Mishima, weapon at the ready, hiding behind some boxes in a panic. He goes in, hands raised, to try to get him to calm down, but Mishima is clearly incredibly shaken, only finally lowering his gun when he realizes Tanimura is the cop that Kido promised would protect him. He agrees to the terms of info for protection, telling Tanimura that him and Ihara were ordered by Katsuragi to go make a scene at Club Elnard. Really stir shit up, but he had no clue why. But then Akiyama showed up, fucking ruined the entire plan. He doesn't remember anything after Akiyama smashed the bottle over his head. Next thing he knew, he was surrounded by garbage in the Champion District, assumedly carried there by Ihara. Given the way he was ditched, Mishima assumes that Ihara was being chased. He went looking for Ihara, and after some time, he found him. Or his body, anyway. He was scared, which I would like to point out, if he found the body, that means that the police took Akiyama and not the body, and left nobody guarding that body. They just kind of left it... Or
there was like a 30-second period between the shooting and our characters arriving there at the start where he got to the body before.
But Arai would have been there that entire time.
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Like, shooting, Arai's there the whole time, Akiyama's there, the cops get Arai.
Point.
He shows up, question mark?
You know that theory that everybody looks like either a frog or a rat, you're like on the spectrum? Mishima's a rat, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I have never heard either of those, and I think that none of us look like either frogs nor rats.
No, I disagree. I'm a rat, you guys are frogs. No offense. Everybody is somewhere on the spectrum.
I love that you knew the answer.
Yeah,
I don't know how to take this.
Well, would you rather be a rat? Come on, no one wants to be a rat.
I think that Scottish men end up looking like slightly rat-faced or slightly troll-faced.
Anyway. Any fucking how. Jesus. He was scared shitless when he found the body, running for it. Just pure adrenaline until he made it back to Ueno Seiwa HQ. But that's when he heard Katsuragi on the phone in the next room over. He didn't catch everything because he'd clearly been already talking a while at the point that Mishima found him. But he thinks that Katsuragi was talking to the cops. He heard the word police a lot, at least. But it's what he heard next that really had him freak. Ihara's dead, just as planned. We'll get rid of Mishima as soon as we find him. He booked... hilarious, I'm saying that while Mishima is literally listening at the door. He booked it from Ueno HQ fast as he could without being seen, and he's been laying low ever since. He looks over at Tanimura, begging him to keep him safe. He'll even go to jail if that's what it takes. Tanimura tells him that he can lay low with him until they sort out something more official. Bang! A splotch of red appears on Mishima's shirt. He looks down, coughing up blood, before falling backwards to the ground. Tanimura spins around, looking for the gunman. Who's there? From the shadows, guns still raised, walks Sugiyuchi.
Yes, we called it. Well done, us.
Ratman.
Yeah. Sugiyuchi.
The most obvious Ratman of the franchise.
Comments, back me up. This is a real thing, right? That's the thought. And what are you? Tell us in the comments below.
Ask your friends to comment. And hey, while they're here,
Why not like
Hit that like button and smash the subscribe bell.
ribbit.
Squeak, squeak. You're one surprise after another, kid. Getting this close to the truth and all by yourself? I'm damn near impressed. Tanimura is not surprised, even if he had hoped that it wasn't true. Sugiyuchi asks what tipped him off. Just gambler's luck? Your shoes. The real fancy always look brand new. Not exactly practical for a homicide cop working murder scenes. A normal cop buys cheap shoes and wears them into the ground. Which, if you'll remember way back in the first scene of Tanimura's, before he left the room, he looked down at checked out Sugiyuchi's shoes.
I think the advice for people who work outdoors every day, the well-received wisdom is that you buy expensive shoes if you're walking everywhere every day, because they last longer, meaning it becomes cheaper in the long run. But I take his point.
His watch, too. Far too expensive for a beat detective. Hell, it's so high-end, doubt the average person's even heard of the brand. And their heads would explode at the price tag if they did. But even beyond those clues, he hasn't exactly been subtle. The staged rescue from Katsuragi's men, sending Chief Hasai ahead to Homeland, it almost feels like Sugiyuchi was waiting for Tanimura to catch on. Tanimura thinks that Sugiyuchi is tired of his 25-year partnership with Katsuragi. He tells him that he's seen the case file in Archive Room 13, which, hearing that he's seen that case file, he, flares up in anger. He knows that he partnered with his dad. He also knows that only one of them could have covered up something as big as Katsuragi butchering 18 of his own people. And it definitely wasn't your old pops. You were ordered by someone up top to alter the facts, weren't you? All to protect your good friend Katsuragi. You shut your goddamn mouth! Sugiyuchi fires twice, both missing Tanimura as he stands there unflinching. You don't know the first fucking thing about that case, or about me. Not another step! The lights in the warehouse all switch on, blinding them as dozens of cops flood into the building, guns drawn, surrounding Sugiyuchi.
Hooray!
From the balcony above, our straight main man Pseudo comes forward. Not seen him in a while.
Wow. Yeah.
Telling Sugiyuchi that they know about the collusion. Stand the fuck down. Sugiyuchi, it's weird to see him without a helicopter.
I didn't know he had legs.
I thought his legs were just blades. Sugiyuchi begins cackling, just maniacally, shouting that they don't know a damn thing. He just ignores, there's probably about 50 cops in this room. There's an entire balcony around. There's this many cops around the entire balcony and on the ground floor. He ignores all of them and just puts his gun straight back pointed at Tanimura, saying how he knows who he works with. So who cares? He's untouchable. Later, he turns, ignoring all the cops, and starts to walk out of the building.
What?
Pseudo shouts at him to stop, but Sugiyuchi continues laughing. Or what? You'll shoot me? Anyone pulls the trigger and you're through. Japanese police can't shoot, and you damn well know it. Prove me wrong. Sudo's face contorts, unable to give the order, wrestling between duty and the reality of the situation. Sugiyuchi looks over at Tanimura, a wicked smile on his face. So this is what your justice adds up to. Absolutely nothing. There's a lesson for you, kid. He turns and walks out of the building. Bang! A shot whizzes past Sugiyuchi's head, embedding itself in the metal door frame. He turns around with a look of rage on his face at Tanimura, his gun smoking. I'm not afraid to shoot. I've never been one for the rules. Sorry, but I've got my own brand of justice.
Drink driving and gambling on the job.
Tanimura, I always knew you'd grow into your uniform. You're the first one in my 30 years who's really fucking deserved it. So congrats! Now let's see how far your justice takes you. He sprints out of the building, Tanimura and Sudo in hot pursuit. Outside, he jumps off the dock, landing in a small powerboat, taking off immediately. Lucky for Tanimura, there's a second boat, so we can have a boat chase!
Yay. Is there a rocket launcher in this one?
No.
Just went curious.
You just kind of boat chase while he keeps reaching back and shooting at you. And you have to kind of like just dodge things in the bay.
Cool. It's fun though.
Yeah, it is fun. Eventually, Sugiyuchi winds up back at seemingly the same docks, but I'm not really sure because Yakuza only really seems to have one docks.
He gets out of the boat and there's 50 cops waiting. Oh, God. Oh, I got turned around.
Nah, there's nobody else here. So he runs out of the boat, but Tanimura is hot on his heels and shoots him in the shoulder, finally slowing him enough to catch up. You really don't know when to quit. Have it your way. Your old man? That was me. I'm the one that killed your dad. Yeah. And now you're next, kid. He shoots Tanimura's gun out of his hand. Oh. But Tanimura doesn't have time for the shit. Sprinting over in a rage, tackling the gun from his hand and whipping a pair of cuffs between them. You think some goddamn cuffs are all it's going to take, Tanimura? He swings up, going to punch Tanimura's face, but he rolls away, taking Sugiyuchi with him. They roll about until Sugiyuchi finally manages to catch his gun, shooting through the cuffs before Tanimura knocks it away again. Unfortunately, Sugiyuchi is kind of weak to punch type attacks, so he ends up flat on his ass with Tanimura's gun pointed between them.
Oh, okay.
Now tell me who murdered my father? Who dumped his body in the ARKHAM 25 years ago?
Me,
huh?
I
Say it! Sugiyuchi sneers up, saying how he's already told him. Tears stream from Tanimura's face, struggling to pull the trigger. He pleads, asking why it had to be him. What would make an honest cop betray his own partner? Sugiyuchi looks up, laughing, telling him how he's got it all wrong. He's not honest. He's not even a cop. Oh. Never has been.
Oh.
Him and Katsuragi, they're sworn brothers. He's been Ueno Seiwa since day one, put into the cop academy as a spy on the inside.
Kind of. One way.
That is, but sure. Then he murdered Tanimura's dad when he found out Katsuragi was behind it. He sits up. Oh, wait. Redo that line. Then he murdered Tanimura's dad when he found out that Katsuragi was behind it. He sits up. Wish it were that simple. The truth's a whole lot bigger. We flash back to April 21st, 1985, just as Taiga Saejima taking the final shot at Patriarch Ueno. Saejima leaves the ramen shop, but not a moment after the door slams behind him, there's a stir. Katsuragi opens his eyes slowly and gets to his feet. He looks down at the other men in the restaurant as they begin to shift and stir as well. One also wakes up, sitting up, wondering how he's still alive. The bullet falls from the hole in his jacket, rolling onto the floor, and it's blue? A rubber bullet. Katsuragi looks down at the man. They're not lethal, but they sure pack a serious punch. The man looks up at Katsuragi, asking what he's talking about, but he can't even finish the sentence before Katsuragi shoots him between the eyes. The rubber bullet reaction was lesser than I thought it was, but I guess you were already guessing blanks. Rubber bullet is a massive Yakuza meme.
Oh, is it?
It's a massive fandom meme. Everybody thinks it's the stupidest fucking twist. I think it's great. I love rubber bullets. But...
I don't hate it as a reveal at all.
I think we'd sort of arrived in a roundabout way in a similar place.
To be fair, I'm surprised you went to blanks before you went to he was wearing a bulletproof vest.
I think just because of the fact that, like, if the whole situation was tampered, you might be able to tamper with the guns as well. Because a bulletproof vest wouldn't stop you getting shot in the head.
Yeah, I think one cool thing to point out if you go back and watch that scene, and I wasn't sure if you guys noticed it, every single time that Taiga shoots somebody, there's no blood. The one time that Katsuragi shoots him, there is blood.
Oh, that's a fun detail. That's
yeah.
Cool. Okay, yeah. Cool.
Like, there's definitely holes. Like, it goes through their clothes. So, yeah. This guy's like, rubber bullet, why am I alive? And Katsuragi's like, you're not alive anymore, bitch! And he caps him between the eyes. Another who's just awoken looks over, demanding to know what Katsuragi's doing, but quickly meets the same fate. One by one, Katsuragi walks through the restaurant, shooting the still unconscious men in their heads. The final shot goes off, and the door slides open. Brother, you finished? It's Sugiyuchi. Katsuragi walks over, handing him the gun, saying that all that's left is to end up in the hospital. Try not to hit anything vital. He tells Sugiyuchi that the rest is in his hands as Sugiyuchi raises the gun, shooting Katsuragi in the shoulder. Sometime after the hit, Sugiyuchi delivers his report to his chief, Munakata, who comments on how impressively detailed their reports is. All in a day's work, sir. Oh? Is filing false reports part of your job?
Oh.
Detective? Sugiyuchi tries to play dumb, but dumb the chief is not. He immediately starts picking apart this slipshot report to increasingly anxious-looking Sugiyuchi. Saejima faced 20 men in a tiny shop with no backup. He would have met with substantial amounts of resistance, yet all the shots were clean, perfect headshots. Not really sure why he did that, but...
Yeah, that was dumb from them.
I actually had a note above at the time he was shooting them, like, why the fuck are you doing it like this? And then it came down there and I had to like go up and erase the note from earlier. And on another note, pulling out the coroner's report, he points to how it was careless that none of them were wearing bulletproof vests. Yet that small detail led them to discover curious rubber bullet wounds on the bodies of all 18 men.
Fucking hell. This is a terrible plan.
I take it back. It's so dumb. In universe, it's dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good.
He sits back in his chair, asking Sugiyuchi.
I'm just imagining Sugiyuchi's like that, like the fucking Jordan Peele meme, like just sweating increasingly from his head. And another thing, we have you on camera.
He sits back in his chair, asking Sugiyuchi if he knows what those rounds are. The highly classified, non-lethal rounds that the police are developing for riot control.
Get out. Are you joking?
They're still undergoing tests, but they've been proven to be strong enough to knock a man out.
Sugiyuchi is the most incompetent villain in the franchise so far.
I wonder, how did our suspect get a hold of experimental ammunition only the police know about?
That's so good. I'm so happy.
So is this why he was never promoted?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you keep him around? Clearly involved.
Oh, Sugiyuchi's face sinks lower as the chief continues, questioning why a street criminal would bother knocking them out with rubber bullets before finishing them with a single slug between the eyes. Quite a peculiar criminal indeed, that Saejima. And there's the matter of Katsuragi, the only survivor besides Yoshiharu Ino himself. The suspect struck with deadly precision 18 times, all in the head, but Katsuragi managed to get off with only a shoulder wound? Not even like the stomach?
God damn.
Munakata immediately reaches the conclusion that this is fucking bullshit, and that it was all a plot by Katsuragi, with Taiga Saejima merely being a pawn. And he says how it's hard to believe that a detective like Sugiyuchi failed to reach the exact same conclusion.
Munakata rocks. Can we get him back, please? He's the real Herlock Sholmes. Jesus Christ.
Why did Thinmi go to prison for 25 years then?
It's like a teacher.
Chase, why did he get life in prison? Why did he get the death sentence?
He's a Yakuza. Okay.
No, he got the death sentence for killing 18 men.
Oh, that's a good point.
And the police no, he didn't.
Munakata leans forward in his chair, a slight smile on his lips at Sugiyuchi's anxious demeanor, and asks him to do him a favor. Introduce me to Isao Katsuragi. Do that, and I'll allow your report to stand as written. Do we have a deal? A new baddie joins the fray! Back at the docks, Tanimura is shocked and confused. Munakata? As in the deputy commissioner of the Tokyo fucking PD? A far more deflated Sugiyuchi admits that they've been backed by him for 25 years, ever since he turned in that report. Tanimura is in way over his fucking head. Sugiyuchi sighs as if letting out a breath that he's held for 25 years. Man, that feels good. 30 years I've lived this lie. No one to confide in. No one who'd understand me. Do you have any clue how tough that is? For the first time in 30 years, Sugiyuchi has allowed himself to be vulnerable, saying how, since that report, he's been a lapdog to police and Yakuza alike. All his dreams long dead. Tanimura drops his arm, pain in his face as Sugiyuchi continues. You're one of the good ones. A real, honest cop. What?
That is on par. I'm sorry.
The bar is low.
That is on par with "You Are My True Father."
Yeah.
Absolute nonsense.
I guess from Sugiyuki's point of view, sure. But compared to him, he's an honest cop.
I think it's more that he's the only cop who won't be stopped by the corruption at the top.
Sure, he just profits from the corruption at the bottom. Yeah. I take the point. It's this would also be a real funny time for him to shoot this guy in the head.
Lies or not, in my 30 years in the force, I've gotten my fair share of praise. Been thanked countless times for my servants. Every word of it tore my heart out. Made me wonder what I was even doing. I'd close a case, get my pat on the back, and even though it shouldn't have, it felt good. Somewhere deep in my heart. Truth is, seeing you struggle, suffer, succeed, it made me wish I'd gone straight ages ago. He raises his arms to Tanimura, telling him to take him in. He did this on his own. He avenged his father. Before Tanimura can, though, he needs to know one last thing. What's Munakata's aim here? Sugiyuchi tells him to leave that stone unturned. He's already done what he set out to do. But how could Tanimura face his dad in the afterlife if he didn't see it to its end? Sugiyuchi warns him that doing that's going to have every cop in Japan on his ass. This is why I took up the badge. To find the truth about my father. I'll do whatever it takes. Sugiyuchi smiles. Is that so? He struggles to his feet, hobbling over to Tanimura, taking out his pack of smokes and lighting one up, drawing a long breath. Bang! A shot echoes through the cold steel of the shipping containers as Sugiyuchi is struck in the chest.
Oh, okay.
Well, hang on. He didn't shoot him in the head.
The bullet passing cleanly through his body and through his heart. He falls straight to the ground, Tanimura going to rush, but turns, hearing the sound of the engine of a boat as the shooters makes their escape into Tokyo Bay. But there's no time for that. He rushes to Sugiyuchi's side. Tanimura, it wasn't just me. There's another traitor. He coughs up blood before rolling to his back, looking up into the sky. Finally, after all these years, some peace.
Say who it is!
Thank you. Tanimura screams into the sky as the final flecks of life leave the old cop's eyes. At Police HQ, a much older and grayed Munakata receives a call. A report on Sugiyuchi's death. Yes, sir. Just as you ordered, comes the voice of Chief Hisai.
Ah, it's the only other cop.
He straightens his glasses, looking over across the Chinese restaurant to the tied up and gagged Zhao and Mei Hua.
Oh no.
Struggling in their seats. He walks over, pulling the tape from Zhao's mouth. You bastard! What are you gonna do with Ma-chan? Hisai pulls a pistol from his jacket pocket. And as the camera zooms outside of the Chinese restaurant, we hear the shot go off.
Wow.
Damn.
Part 3 complete.
Woo!
Woo!
Wait, postscript. And
Part 3.
to figure out what's going to happen, I guess there's going to be a part 4.
There's a part 4? What?
Oh, sorry, you don't
This
have
isn't
a
the end.
flashback.
This isn't the end. No, that's the actual end of the part. This one does not want to.
Oh, right. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh
okay.
no, what can people do if they don't want to wait for the next part? Well, I'll tell you all, folks. We appreciate you joining us here on YouTube. Appreciate it even more if you'd hit the old subscribe. If you want to get those episodes a little bit early, for example, all of the parts of Yakuza dropping the same day, that will be happening over on our Patreon, where, of course, you can get early access to our episodes at the low price of £2 per month.
Yes.
And also, we have a Discord.
It's real cool. Lots of cool peeps in there.
Lots of cool peeps in there talking about all sorts of things. Mostly not about lore dump anymore.
No,
Which is nice. Yeah. And in there, you can maybe chat to Chase. Probably not me. I won't be there.
No, you're rarely. I'm there decently, frequently.
Yeah.
I'm at least watching.
Yeah.
If you two are in the mood to request that we cover God of War, Assassin's Creed, Mass Effect, or Fallout for the 500th time, feel free to jump into the Discord. The suggestions tab is right there. And also, just to clarify, when Neil said all parts of Yakuza, he meant all parts of Yakuza 4.
4.
Please do not sign up to the Patreon thinking that Like a Dragon or whatever is going
No, I've not written that. We'll get there.
No, Mortal Kombat will be there by the time you get this episode live, though. This public episode.
And maybe Spider-Man Miles Morales?
Yeah.
And maybe Alan Wake the Lake House.
Whoa.
Oh, so much
All
stuff.
these episodes will already be public by the time.
All these episodes and more.
No more.
Well, I mean,
No more.
backwards more. In the past more.
Bye.
Bye.